Hi everybody. To help you out a little bit with the progression of experiences and assessments in phonological awareness, I'm going to share with you just a quick activity I often do in class on campus. So these are not in order. These phonological awareness assessments are scrambled. Try to sort them in the sequence from those you would expect students to master first to those you'd expect students to master last, so kind of easiest to hardest. So pause the video here, look at what you've got, and think about which of these you think might come first, second, last, and so on. Really pause it. Okay, I'm going to show the answer. Make sure you tried it. Okay, well, this is the answer per Caldwell and Leslie. I'm sure there's some debate about this, but the idea is that syllabication, just the sense of hearing syllables, not dividing them precisely like a dictionary, would come first. And then asking students to identify rhyme would precede asking students to generate rhyme. So if you have a student who's struggling to generate rhyme, you might go back and see, can they identify a rhyme in a pair of words. Then we get into the phoneme pieces. So give a word and ask the student to identify the initial sound. Usually that initial sound they'll hear first, meaning earliest in their development. Identifying the final sound. Some of you are working on that. So we usually expect that to come later. And then ask them to identify the middle sound, and then asking them to break it apart into individual phonemes, and then, more complex tasks like deletion and so on. Okay, so from there, let's think about phonological awareness instructional activities. And again, these are scrambled in a random order. So what sequence would make sense to put these into? So pause the video, really pause it, read the page, see what you think. Okay, did you pause it? Do you have an order? Okay, so here's for Caldwell and Leslie. So beginning with reading nursery rhymes and other rhyming texts aloud with children and encouraging them to join and fill the rhymes. That's something you can do, frankly, from in utero. Singing songs that highlight alliteration, like songs that like highlight the first letter in all the children's names with playful alliteration can be fun there. Giving students a set of pictures and asking them to sort them into groups based on the first sound they hear. So that's getting into the phoneme level. So that's trickier. Giving students a set of pictures and ask them to sort into groups based on the last sound they hear, and then give the student letter cards, say a word, and have them say each sound in the word and move forward the appropriate letter for each sound. So here we're combining printed letters and words with our phonemic awareness instruction, and that's valuable because these pieces are reciprocal. They feed each other. Okay, so a couple examples. Janie is a third grader who scored at frustration on the pre-primer 1 passages on the QRI 6, which is a pretty, terrific in a lot of ways assessment. Imperfect, of course. It's a informal reading inventory that's a little bit beefier than something like the DRA. Her teacher assessed her phonological awareness and determined that she is able to identify and produce rhyming words with 85% accuracy, but she's not able to isolate the initial phoneme of a word. So which of the instructional activities that we just saw would be the most appropriate place to start phonological awareness instruction for Jane? So she's doing pretty well with identifying rhymes and producing or generating rhymes, but she's struggling with initial phoneme. So take a look here. Always can pause and then think about what you would do. So she needs to work on isolating initial phonemes, so instruction in her zone of proximal development, that essentially optimal challenge for our purposes here. Could involve singing songs that highlight alliteration, because that does draw attention to that initial phoneme, and giving students a set of pictures and asking them to sort into groups based on the first sound they hear. Here's another example. Eduardo is a fourth grader whose instructional level for familiar narratives in the QRI-6 is second grade. And that means that he has to be reading with appropriate accuracy and rate and comprehension to place at second grade for an instructional level. So which of those activities that we saw above, I'm sorry, it's almost 1 in the morning, apologize for the yawns, which of those would be most appropriate place to start him on phonological awareness? So let's take a look at these choices. So he's reading fluently and comprehending in second grade level text. He's not reading instructionally on grade level, but he's reading second grade level texts effectively. So what I would say here is that to be reading accurately and with solid comprehension in second grade narratives, he most likely has mastered rhyming, hearing syllables, hearing and working with individual phonemes. If there's something that's standing out in his reading behaviors that makes me think this is an issue, I should directly assess phonological awareness using a tool like the McKenna Install Test of Phonological Awareness or another tool. But most likely, if a student is doing this kind of work with second grade narratives, the issue is not going to be about phonological awareness. And that's just to say, if you're working with middle school or high school students, most of the time, this is not where the issue is. This wouldn't be my first assessment for older students, but you will come across cases in your career where this is an issue that really needs to be addressed. So have your antenna up for it. Okay, I hope that's helpful. Sorry for all the videos. I'm trying to be helpful and catch up after being away and dealing with mom stuff and whatnot. So I hope this is helping. Have a good one. Bye.